What's up, Coach Ryan Fanley here. We are still in the month of Dead-U-Ary, where I'm bringing you new deadlift variations and deadlift information the entire month. Today we're going to talk about another one of my favorite deadlift variations of the program, the single leg RDL, or single leg Romanian deadlift. Now, before I go any further, all you hardcore guys and gals, bear with me, all right? I know it's been a couple days since we've done the big bad deadlift variations. Yesterday we had the Jefferson curl, which is kind of a mobility based exercise. Today we got this sissy little dumbbell exercise. I promise you, tomorrow we will get back to the barbell. So bear with me. So why the heck am I showing you this little weenie rinky dink single leg RDL? The reason is, I've got several reasons actually. There's 3 ways that you should use this exercise. The first way is in rehabilitation. If you've got an injured hamstring, if you've got an injured glute, if you're coming back from knee surgery, this is a great variation to re-educate the body into proper movement patterns. Anytime you go on one leg, the muscles of the hip and the thigh stabilize the body, all right? So when we go on one leg, the glutes and the adductors are kind of fighting and balancing one another to position the femur and the knee. So without that ability to balance and without the ability to have the motor pattern, the proper correct motor pattern of movement, you're going to expose yourself to worse injury. If you think about it, when you're sprinting in sports, when you sprint, only one leg is striking the ground at a time, and that is a high force, high velocity movement. If you can't even stand on one leg without wobbling, okay, how the heck do you hope to be able to sprint, change direction with any kind of efficiency and without getting injured? You can't, okay? If you look at people that have ever had hip surgery or a hip replacement, you put them on one leg, they're going to be wobbling all over the place. This is great to build stability in the hip. This is not a strength exercise. So the first way I'll use it is in rehab. The second way that I'll use it is in warm-up. So if I'm doing heavy barbell deadlifts on the docket for a day, I may start my session off with 2 sets of just real light dumbbell single leg RDLs. It's going to get all the muscles around my hip firing properly. It's going to grease the pattern a little bit with light weights. It's not super taxing. It's a great warm-up, and personally, my deadlifts always feel a lot more smooth if I start off with some single leg RDLs in the warm-up. The third place that I like to use this is as a finisher for the hips and hamstrings. So if I'm doing a bodybuilding style workout, and let's say I start my session with heavy barbell deadlifts, then I blast it with 3 different leg curl variations, some glute ham raises, and I just want something to finish off in a stretched position, I might use a single leg RDL. In that instance, sometimes I will use support, and I'll go over that in just a second. So how do you do a single leg dumbbell RDL? There's 2 ways. You can hold 2 dumbbells, or you can go with a single dumbbell contralateral hold. If you go with a single dumbbell, as I'm going to show you here, the glute on that side has to work extra hard to stabilize. So I like that to get the glute turned on and get it stronger. So you're simply, if you're working the right leg, you're going to hold the dumbbell in the left hand. You're going to keep your chest and torso nice and proud, everything locked in, straight line from head to heel, and you're going to hinge at the axis of the hips. You're not bending at the waist, you're hinging at the hips. The back leg, you're going to think about kicking to the wall behind you and squeezing the glute and coming up. So push back and up with the back leg. All right, common mistakes that I see. One of the things you don't want to do is, as you go down, open the hip up. That's an incorrect movement pattern. Okay, the body is not doing its job properly if you're opening up. So you need to make sure your hips stay nice and level to the ground. So the front, the pointy, the ASIS, or the point on the front of your hips, think of them like pistols. It's just they pointed at the ground at all times. If you're twisting and gunning down everybody else in the gym, you're doing it wrong. So this is what it looks like from the side. Same thing, keeping the torso up nice and proud. This foot, I'm pushing my back leg back. Oop, hit the rack. Let me scoot up. Pushing the back leg back. Keeping the body nice and aligned and hinging through the hips. Okay, now again, if you're doing it as a finisher, sometimes it's okay to add a little bit more stability by just placing your hand lightly on something. You're not holding on for dear life, you're just lightly placing it for support so that you can isolate the hamstrings a little bit better. I'm Coach Ryan Fanley from the Viper Pit in the month of Dead-U-Ary. I'll be back tomorrow with a barbell deadlift, I promise. Hang with me, hardcore guys and gals.